What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 97th episode of the Boundless Business Podcast. Team, how are we feeling today? We feeling okay? Feeling good?
We're feeling good.
Perfect. Well, Justine and I aren't feeling good because we had a long discussion about
We're
why
mad
your
at each
phone
other.
why your phone needs a phone case on it. So if you agree with us, continue listening. If you don't agree with us, continue listening. And we're still going to educate you on a really interesting topic, but fun debates going on. But Justine, what are we talking about today?
Today we're going to talk about how to shift what we've been talking about with a bunch of different advertising strategies and tips for improving your ads and getting more leads, but for a home interior services perspective. So kind of some tips that we have for home interior service professionals that they can use to advertise on Facebook and get more leads in the door. So let's kick it off.
Yeah, it's a really interesting topic because we've taken and talked about marketing for landscapers, and we talked about that in many podcasts, breaking down specific elements of that. But we thought let's just do a whole podcast and then try to make it a little interesting with the home interior niche, think windows, flooring, stuff like that, and go from like start to finish on everything that goes into building a successful campaign, specifically for social media marketing, advertising. Now, this can be applied in different avenues like Google and whatnot, but for this conversation, we're just going to stick to social media advertising. So, really, like how I like to start things off is what's the goal, right? Is it brand awareness? Probably not. Is it leads? Probably. So you probably want to advertise your product or service, let's say it's window installation, to people who need their windows replaced in a specific time frame. It's probably what you want to start doing. So what you want to do first is build a very specific offer to that. So let's say that you have a 3 or 5 window minimum for this, right? You want to build your ad campaign specifically to people who need 3 to 5 windows replaced, right? If someone who comes in and wants 20 windows replaced, that's phenomenal, but that's kind of an outlier. If someone comes in for 2, that's okay, but you probably won't make that much money on it. So let's say 3 to 5 in this case. So we know we want homeowners in a specific city, let's say Salt Lake, for instance, Salt Lake homeowners who want 3 windows installed, and we want to go ahead and target them. Now, we want to figure out what platforms make most sense, and for us, it always goes down to where are people buying? Is it Nextdoor? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it Pinterest? Where is that platform? So you pick a platform. Then you, let's say that in this case we picked Facebook, for instance, right? You want to focus on, okay, 3 to 5 window minimum. So let's advertise and create content related to 3 to 5 windows and an offer that calls out that audience and the offer to them. Bonus points if you can add like a time frame in there. So right now we're recording in middle of November. Let's say that you have a special up until Christmas. We want to bring that up and what they will get if they hit that. Now, we can go into specifics on like how to target and whatnot, but most of these platforms, like advertising on Facebook versus like TikTok, for instance, there's different things that you're looking for. But most likely, you're going to be targeting individuals who are older than, let's say, like 30 years old, and those who have homes, right? So you want to call it that niche. TikTok, for instance, has a lot of specific interest that you can pick from, but not so much on the like zip codes, right? Facebook's really, really good on zip codes, but they have people living in or recently in those areas. So there's trade-offs between every platform. But when you're building that list, what we recommend is have a broad audience segment. That means you're males and females, 30 years old to 60-year-olds in Salt Lake City. And then we want interest ones who are interested in window replacements. Let's say there's a specific brand you use like Pella or Renewal by Andersen, whatever that is. You can actually get people who are interested in those pages, right? And you can target those. So broad and interest on the platform that you pick. Justine, I might actually push over like content to you because I don't know. You're the expert there, but like, why should we care about the content that we're actually posting in these advertisements?
Yeah, the content is like super important because that is the first thing that people usually see when in your ad is the picture that makes them stop scrolling when they're on Facebook or the video that makes them stop scrolling when you're on TikTok. So it's really important to have those high quality images and videos of completed projects or projects that are maybe in the process, and then you show the after, or digital mock-ups of what a house could look like with your windows, something like that. Before and after photos are always a great creative to use in your ads. And these are just really visually appealing, and they make people stop and say, wait, that looks really cool. I can picture that in my house. I want that in my house. So how do I get involved? How do I get started with this project? So you're really just looking to like grab those people's attention and make them stop scrolling.
Yeah. And you want to really focus on like what's native to the platform. So TikTok has a library of ads. Facebook has a library of ads. Pinterest, you can look at what's sponsored in there. But also you want to figure out like what's native to the platform, right? Just because TikTok's associated with like dancing videos doesn't mean that you need to be putting out dancing videos. Or on Facebook, they have all these like kind of ugly, like, scamming looking ads. It doesn't mean you have to do that. You can actually find people who are running successful ads, or talk to individuals like us where we have proven ads and we can help you with that. Shameless plug for Nico, get boundlessmedia.com. But what else do you guys add about content or maybe other things that associate with that?
Well, there's so many different pieces to the puzzle. And so, I mean, content obviously is so important. There's a quote, I know it from Alex Hormozy, but I know that it's a quote. Alex Hormozy was quoting somebody else. I don't know the original source of this, but 80 cents of your advertising dollar, so 80%, is already spent on the first thing that whoever sees. So in some cases, that's the headline. In some cases, that's the image. But the first thing people see, the first thing that they look at, the first thing they read is where 80 cents of your advertising dollar is going, just towards that one thing. So it's really, really important to make sure in most cases that the visual content is very eye-catching, very appealing, and really just brings people in. And you can also make sure to use your visual content to help filter down the people that are coming in. So for example, if, in Nika's previous example, if we just have a normal ad of just say, upgrade your windows, that might get a different audience than if we say, Salt Lake homeowners, upgrade your windows. We can use those visual elements to help funnel the right people into our ads as well, which is great. And then what else is important is that you need to think about what happens after these people come through. After they respond to your ad and they say, I'm interested. You need to think about that process too, about how does this circle kind of complete itself? How do you interact with these people? How do you know when they came in? What's the first thing you say to them? How do you continue to qualify them as they move through your sales process? All those things are so valuable and important, because if somebody responds to your ad, you still have to go through and make sure they're worth your time. Because you'll get a lot of people, no matter what kind of advertisement you're running, a lot of people that are just like, oh, I was just, wondering what the price was, or I was just wondering this, or I was just wondering that, but they're never going to buy from you. Or you'll get a bunch of people that, to be honest, are just trolls and just fill everything out just because they want to. I don't know. There's not really much incentive or reason for them to do it, but they do it anyway. So you need to have processes in place to filter these people out, to make sure they are good fits for you, and to help funnel them into your sales process. So how we do that and how we structure all of that is we take people through a basic text funnel that qualifies them, answers a few basic questions, and books them on the calendar for their estimate, and has different notification processes to notify the team of when these things happen, because that's also important. You have to think about all of this in a really holistic way to make sure that you're not leaving money on the table, is the easiest way to put it. Because if you get 10 leads and you don't respond to them, what was the point of getting the 10 leads in the first place? It's just wasted money. So if you don't want to do that, it's important to think about all the steps and how everything comes through, and how you can use technology to help utilize this, how you can really build a whole strategy from start to finish. So Nico mentioned a lot on the strategy side, where to place, how to place, what platforms, basic things we want to keep in mind there. Justine talked a lot about the creative elements, including, most important is probably the image, the first thing you see. It's just so valuable. And then you got to make sure those people that are coming through that strategy, they see that awesome image, they come through and they need to interact with your company then. They need to then have some sort of interaction to get to that next step, which for most people would be an estimate or getting a quote or a phone call or some sort of like physical intervention by somebody on your team is the typical process, in the home services space, at least. Obviously, other different types of companies are a little different, but home services typically you're going to an estimate or a quote. So you need to think how it goes from ad to quote, and that might look a little different for your business as it does for others, but that's the whole loop of how to do the digital advertising and how to apply those strategies from start to finish.
Yeah, and kind of now that we kind of have the 101s out the way, that kind of bonus ones, the 201s, is very specific. People, and we all do this, right? We're going on Amazon, for instance, to buy something. We'll go in there, we'll pick a product, and we'll look at there's reviews, right? Reviews is a big thing. Like, how many other people have bought this? Like, what are they saying about it? The bonus thing is you're running these advertisements, you're starting to get leads, but what you can do to incrementally increase both the quality and quantity of leads is start posting on these pages. So let's say it's Facebook, for instance, right? You can post client testimonials, you can do jobs that you've done, interviews that you have with your customers or employees. You can start building up that page to build up that social credibility so that when someone sees your advertisement, TikTok's the same way. They see it and they click on your page. It's not this barren bone page that has nothing on it. There's past jobs, there's work, there's examples, there's personality there.
There's ways to communicate you outside of your ads, which is also an
Yes.
important little side note.
Yeah, and then that's a great way to do it. So one way to enhance it is you're already paying for these eyeballs. They're coming to your page, you're filling out your forums. You can actually further enhance it by potentially turning them into followers. So even if they don't buy today, they might buy it later on. We're still focused on today, but there's these other things that you can do to further boost it up. So let's talk about this and summarize everything that we talked about, right? You want to pick a product. Let's say it's Windows. You want to pick specifically what you want to sell. 3 to 5 window replacements. Then you want to get specific on who you're going to sell it to. Homeowners in Salt Lake in this example, right? Over 30 years old. You want to pick the platform that's best for you. Is it TikTok? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it a mix? Is it Google? Is it LSA ads? Whatever that is. Then you want to focus on what is the offer related to that, the 3 to 5 windows, and what's the messaging that we're going to put out there? What's the content that we're going to have in here? Right? Is it a video? Is it a image? And we recommend at least 4 different, right? So minimum budgets on every platform is, I would say, don't even try to do anything less than $50 to $100, and at least run it for 7 days. Again, we have a
asterisk $50 to $100 a day in ad spend alone, meaning you tell the platform, I will give you this amount of money every day.
Correct. Yeah, so you're not running it for a day for $50. You're running at least $350 to $700. I would say at least $500 a week in ads, right? That gives you somewhat decent data. Now, partners like us, like, we know how much each lead is. We know when things are working or not, and we can jump in and change things. But if you're doing this for the first time, budget $50, at least 2 weeks, so at least $1,000 to do something like this, right?
And sample size.
And sample size. And we have a whole podcast related to sample size, so go back and listen to that. You want at least 4 creatives, right? No more than 5, at least 4, right? So 4 is perfect. 3 maybe, 4 is better, right? You can harp on the 4 because you want some variation, because you want to give these platforms content to work with. Once people start filling out leads, Facebook will automatically start funneling more people to the ads that you have. Once you have those leads, you want to call them. You want to call them right away, within 5 minutes of them coming in. You want to work them. You want at least 7 to 10 touch points on them via text, email, phone call. You want to actually work them. Once you have them on the call, you want to go do what you said you would do. If it's a free estimate, if it's a design consultation, if it's walking their property with them, bringing out samples, whatever that is, you want to go ahead and do that. Once you have that, then you want to do the proposal. You want to follow up. You want to make sure that they know that the offer expires. If you don't have an offer, make one up and say it expires between X and Y, so that people who really want this get it. People who don't really want it say no. And that's okay, because you want to clean out your pipipeline. And you want to do a great job. Once you do a great job, you want to ask for reviews. You want to run a referral campaign. You want to upsell them. So that's a very, very, very generalized down, like what you need to, what we recommend and we've seen and we do for our clients to get and grow their business, right? Is we run advertisements, get the leads, we work the leads, you close the deals, you ask for referrals. And you do that over and over and over until you know exactly what the formula is to achieve that. So this is the strategy. This is what most marketers use, most companies use. If you have different ways, email me at nico@balancemedia.com. I'd love to know what you're doing. Maybe you're all referral and you have a great referral program to do it. But this is for the person that really wants to grow in 2024. They're dying to figure out what is happening, and they just want the step-by-steps to do this. This is the podcast. That is what we want to do. It's not more complicated than that. Is it difficult? Yes. Is it simple? Yes. Easy? No. So, team, do you have any closing remarks or anything like that, and why people should start doing this now?
Well, I guess the biggest thing I would say is using paid advertisement on social media is a very good way to ramp things up quickly. I know we talked about it briefly, but you need to have a budget to be able to do this, and you realistically need a budget of at least a few $1,000s a month to do this effectively. So if you're under that, keep in mind it's going to be tough. It will be tight, and if you've tried ads in the past and they didn't work, it very well could just be the budget. So keep those things in mind. The budget in terms of social media advertising is one of the most important pieces. So if you do not have a budget, I would start there. Again, it needs to be at least $1,500 to $2,000 a month just in ad spend. So keep that in mind. That is a good place to start.
Yeah.
And then once you get this system all working, then you just scale it up, and then you can get way, way more leads. And that's it.
Absolutely. Justine, any last content tips?
No, I think that covers everything.
Awesome. Well, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, email me at nico@balancemedia.com. Have a great time scaling. Enjoy the rest of 2023. If you're listening to 2024, happy 2024. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.